Ladies and gents, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Today, this article comes from WOR, and it is a cool one for those people that remember the film Speed from the 90s. Pretty cool action film there with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves really want to make Speed 3. Let's read a little into this article from Jordan Rumi. Last night, director Jean de Bont joined stars Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock at Beyond Fest 30th anniversary screening of Speed, one of the very best action movies of the 90s. During the panel, Bullock made it quite clear that she loved to make Speed 3 and went as far as daring Hollywood to greenlight it because she believes they're not brave enough to do so. That is from The Hollywood Reporter. This is a quote. "I don't know if we're in an industry anymore that's willing to tolerate it and be brave enough to do it." She goes on to continue, "Maybe I could be wrong, but if Jean can't make what's in his brain for the audience, then he's failed, it felt like. I don't know what we could do that would be good enough for the audience," end quote. It was only back in May during an interview on the 50th MPH podcast that Reeves and Bullock expressed interest in making Speed 3. "I mean, we'd freaking knock it out of the park," Reeves said. Speed was not only a commercial success, but it was a damn fine film, driven by wonderful on-screen chemistry between Reeves and Bullock. The actress returned for the 1997 sequel Speed 2 Cruise Control, which was a much-mocked box office and critical disaster. The franchise was dead after that one, and I did hear about that one as well. That one fell right off a cliff. The first one was pretty impactful, and it got people really excited to see what they had next in the pipeline, but that second one just didn't hit how it needed to hit, and they just got the series laughed at that point. But let me continue reading. Bullock told 2Fab in 2022 that "I'm still embarrassed I wasn't in it. That's the one I wished I hadn't done, and no fans came around that I know of except for you." Bullock added at the same time, Reeves wisely turned down Speed 2 because of the screenplay, telling Graham Norton in 2021, "At the time, I didn't respond to the script. I really wanted to work with Sandra Bullock. I love playing Jack Traven, and I love Speed, but in Ocean Liner, I had nothing against the artists involved, but at the time, I had the feeling it just wasn't right." Jason Patric stepped in to replace Reeves in the male lead role. "I wouldn't mind this sequel. It's a franchise that has room for another entry. The real question is, what mode of transportation will be used for the third one? Maybe they could go back to the original formula, a bus." As for DePont, 80s, he's only directed 5 films in his career, including Speed and Twister. The problem is that the other 3 were Speed 2 Cruise Control, The Haunting, and the last one, Lara Croft, Cradle of Life. He hasn't helmed a film in over 20 years. So with that being said, yeah, the director coming back for this film, the fact that he hasn't been active for 20 years, that's a big question mark. Could he come back and get behind the camera and still have the eye for shooting and the direction that the movie needs to go in? He could, but honestly, if I were to see a film of this caliber come back, you got to understand that Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves are obviously in their 50s, and Keanu Reeves, I think, is almost 60 at this point. So you got to understand what you're working with there. They're not in their 20s or early 30s anymore. They're not going to be able to do what they could do before. So with that being said, guys, you're going to have to figure out how to make a movie that's tailored to their age. Also, it would be imperative to get a good writer involved so you can explain what happened in between the events of 1 and 3. Obviously, Keanu Reeves was not in Speed 2, so they are going to have to explain that. It could be explained pretty easily, but it needs to make sense as well. This is just an action film. It doesn't need to have the best screenplay or the most depthy concepts involved with it. I would actually like to see Michael Bay come and direct a Speed film. I feel like this would be great for him. Mr. Michael Bay has made a living off these types of action films, so I think it would really be cool to see him attached to a potential Speed film. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments about this idea. Do you think Sandra Bullock has a point? And would you like to see Keanu Reeves return to the franchise it would be at this point for a potential Speed 3? Let me know everything you think about this down in the comments. Like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and as always, be safe. It's Neff signing off.